Two hip kicks.
And boom.
Boom.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Finding Your Music Mojo with TC and Dawn. I'm TC.
And I'm Dawn.
And we are here to lighten your world for an hour about the world of music. So
that's right. Bring it on, baby.
We'll have some fun.
Bring it on. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming in, either live or watching after the show. We appreciate you.
Yep. Yeah, we do. How has your week been?
My week has been busy. Trying to, as everybody knows now, we're getting the house ready to sell all our stuff. So we've been doing a lot of packing and organizing and playing around with things, figuring out what we can live without and what we can't live without. So yeah, we've been doing that.
Unloading all those 45s that you're supposed to be selling to me.
I know, right? You don't want them all. You need a bigger house if you get a bigger apartment.
Yeah,
or something
I know. I don't have the room for all.
You have to make a couch out of them or something. I don't know what you do with them, but it's like, yeah, modular furniture. Here we go. Hey, there's my lovely wife. Welcome, darling. How are you doing? So yeah, we've been doing that too. We've been taking them to auction. So that's going on. We still have our make us an offer sale going on Discogs and eBay. I don't know if I have anything left on eBay, but Discogs for sure. And I think we still have some stuff up on Whatnot, but maybe not. Mary can tell you for sure. She's in charge of that. I make sure she's in charge. Listening in. Of course you are, dear. I love you. She keeps an eye on me. She keeps an eye on me. For sure. So other than that, how about your week?
Oh, it hasn't been too bad.
Oh, okay.
I've just been getting things organized for all the programs to come back full time next week. Cool. And a few other things. So yes, it will, hopefully.
That'd be great. I can't
lots of other stuff. This week we're going to talk about what we were just talking about.
There you go. How much more do you need to know? Hey, Patrick. You got him coming in on both channels.
I'm an idiot. I didn't even pull one. I should have.
What, a 45?
Yeah, and I can't get to them. So we're doing the evolution of the 45 this week.
Just a second. I'm sure I can do this. Yeah. Here, let me pull that one that I showed you guys the other day. There you go.
Yep. That's a 45. Not like everybody doesn't already know that, but you know.
Yeah. It's a 7-inch single, guys. There you go. But the single started many, many, many moons ago. And not just 50 years ago or 60 years ago.
Yeah.
More than that.
Because everything was a single, pretty much 99% of it, until the format wars in the late 50s started between Columbia and RCA. Columbia had invented the LP and RCA the 45, and they competed with Columbia by slipping a bunch of 45s into like a binder, which you've seen a few of those. Oh, yeah. You've sold quite a few of those over the years.
Yep. Multi-45 sets, like 5 to 7 of them, depending on how big they wanted the album to be.
Yeah. So, yeah. It was quite interesting. And of course, RCA originally color-coded the vinyl, different colors for different styles.
Yeah.
But in the long run, it was Top 40 Radio that made the vinyl single the dominant choice of music until probably the 1990s.
Yep.
So,
yeah, when it started. I mean, it started dying off in the late 80s. They did mostly jukebox releases when they got into the 90s. mid to late 90s.
Yeah, by the time the 80s had rolled through, they were doing cassette singles and CD
CDs.
singles.
Exactly. But yeah,
But
it
they were
does
still
harken.
doing vinyl for jukeboxes and for radio stations, and that was about it.
That was about it. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, back when recorded media started, they had the wax cylinders, right? Which were basically one song in length.
Hmm.
So singles have pretty much been the media, yeah, the size of choice or the size of the origin from day one. Like even 78 shellac records, like we were saying earlier, were
Yeah,
one song on one side. Sometimes
yeah,
you get an EP, maybe 2 songs, but they were shorter songs
yeah.
for sure. So yeah. But yes. So my love of singles has started a long time ago, back when I was but a wee lass. And it's just kind of stuck with me. Stuck with me.
Hi, Chris Shuck. You got your button there?
No, I don't. Not up here, Chris. Sorry. I gotta pull it up.
You'll
Oh
have to wait
gosh.
till they get moved, Chris.
Oh gosh, Chris.
Gosh.
Gosh. I'll bring it
Um,
up. I'll bring it up before the show tomorrow. I'll try to remember to do that.
thanks for
Welcome,
coming
Chris.
by. I'm sorry, you were saying?
Oh, just love. Always been kind of the thing for me was the 45s because I inherited a bunch of them from older siblings and
Right.
my mother.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, we didn't have we had some 78s in the house, but mostly it was more popular. That music. They wouldn't let me touch shellac records probably because they break so easy. Is what I'm thinking because they do break
Yeah.
easy. Yeah. But for a while there, you could get like Elvis and other artists of that time in 78, maybe not shellac. Sometimes I think they were converting over to vinyl at that point too. But you can get them in
Right.
70. You could get them in 78 or 45. You get
Mhm.
to choose which one you like. So jukeboxes of the era, late 40s, were being converted over to 45 in the early 50s. So, Chris, the new youth, woohoo! I know, right? This is the office, baby. This is
Yep.
the office from now
Yeah.
on.
I started with children's books too, Patrick, but I started with 45s because my mom was not an album buyer. She
Mm,
loved music. She had the radio on, and if she really liked a song, she would buy the 45. She never bought the album. Um, I don't ever remember seeing her have albums at all. All we had was 45s. I had albums when I got people would give them to me as gifts when I starting when I was 3. So,
wow.
but that's, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So what were in some of those hand-me-down 45s, Don? Because I
Some
know you've talked about you have this great knowledge of stuff from the 50s music-wise that you've
some.
brought up on Johnny's auction and on whatnot that
Mhm.
I don't have that kind of knowledge when it comes to that really old stuff because I
Means
was
I'm
never
older than you, I guess. I don't
not
know.
that
Not,
much, not
not,
that much.
not that much. But yeah, it was a lot of stuff that was handed to me as a child that was left behind so I could play with it and stuff. Yeah, I think what was it? A couple of the picture sleeves you picked up were some of the ones that were from my youth. Forget Him, which was I can't remember who sang that now. Yeah,
Bobby
blank on
Rydell.
Bobby Rydell. Thank you. That was one of
Yep.
them for sure,
Uh-huh.
for sure, because that song got played to death in my house. So, but yeah, a lot of that type of stuff. Elvis for sure because my mother was into Elvis. Not the Beatles per se, but that was more 60s. Oh goodness, Tom Jones.
Yeah.
And then of course you got the Four Seasons, stuff like that. You had the Everly Brothers were big
Yeah.
back then, and I think I gravitated to some of those because like the Everly Brothers did great harmonies. I love that.
Yeah, all of
I
those
have
acts
this
were great. I mean, Elvis was
strong love,
fantastic
yeah,
and, so on and so forth.
strong love of great harmonies. So and that carried with me on through my adulthood. Um, but yeah, I just played this stuff to death. I also had some Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels. I remember that. What else did I have? Oh God, but they all just kind of went by the wayside, and I've kind of rediscovered them as I go looking through 45s and go bin digging and such, or go to garage
Yeah.
sales and yard sales.
Yeah. You had a lot more interesting stuff than I did. My mom was into the crooners and the
Yeah,
instrumentals.
yeah,
So
exactly.
my first exposure to 45s, when I first realized what they were, I had Kitty records, the
Yeah,
78s that you could play from Cricket and from the one was the yellow vinyl. I can't remember the
yeah, yeah.
Golden records.
Peter Pan records or Golden records or something. Yeah.
Yeah, one of those. I had a lot of those. And but what my mom passed on to me was Pete Fountain,
Mm,
Mr. Ackerbelk, Al Martino, Dean Martin,
Dean Martin. Yep.
stuff like that. I when I first started picking out records, because I would get a record or something every time I went to the doctor, because I was
Mhm.
taking a series of shots like every 6 weeks for 2 years. So my reward for not crying was a record. I would usually pick out something that I liked that she probably wasn't that fond of. Barbara Ann by the Beach Boys,
Oh yeah.
something by Wayne Newton. I can't remember what it wasn't. Donkashane. It
Or
was later.
Danky Showing
Yankee
or something.
Shone. It
Danky
it
Showing.
was later than that,
Cheers.
and later on, I would get the Monkees and stuff like that. So it was,
Hmm.
I definitely that's where I got my love for instrumental and crooners and beautiful music from my
Hmm.
mom. But I definitely did gravitate toward the pop stuff early on. So,
Yeah. So we also had albums at our house too, but a lot of that was from my grandmother, and she liked musicals, like MGM musicals. She liked,
uh huh,
The Sound of Music, and well, that came out a little late, but she'd buy these, right? So Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, West Side Story, all that stuff was in my house when I was a kid too. So the albums were
Oklahoma
there,
too.
but the 45s were my favorites, and I picked them up as I went.
Do you remember the first 45 you bought?
Ooh, hmm, with my own money. Let's see.
Or with a gift or whatever,
Oh,
had the money to do it.
mhm. Um, I think I picked up. I want to say this. No, I really can't think of the one. I'm trying to think. It was much later after I was out of the house and stuff that I got back into vinyl. So because when I was a kid, of course, you got a turntable or you got a record player there, and it was a record player, not a turntable, because it had a speaker in it.
Yeah, it
Um,
was.
Voice and music. So all those 45s went by the wayside. When I started collecting on my own, it was probably mostly 70s and 80s pop and rock.
Mhm.
So I want to say maybe the Hollies, Devil the Blue Dress. Wasn't that Hollies?
Long cool woman in a black
Long
dress.
Cool Woman in a Black Dress. Thank you. Appreciate that. That one probably was my first one. And then it just kind of fell apart from there.
Yeah.
As we can see from the collection over in the corner.
I used to get, I lived in rural Ohio, so when I was a kid, and a small town, and so the place where I got records in this small town, which was 1,000 people, was
Mhm.
the local Ben Franklin. They had a rack jobber rack of 45s, and they also had these bags where you could pay $1 and get 6 45s that were cutouts.
Yeah.
And I got a ton of those when I was a kid too. It's how I found some of the crazy stuff that's in my collection.
Do you still
So
have them, right?
I have some of them, not all of them,
Wow.
but I
That's
have I
crazy.
have quite a few of
I,
them.
I used to
And
love that. You could go into like a Meyer or a Kmart or whatever. We were in a little bigger town, I guess.
yeah,
And yeah, you could get all sorts of different the cutout bundles.
yeah,
They
which
were all
they,
packaged together. You see maybe one side, you could see one record in the other. Maybe they were shrink wrapped or whatever, and the but you couldn't see them all, so you just blind hope that you're getting something you want.
yeah. I found the Mind Benders that way. I found Hot Boyce and Heart that way. I
Oh
found
wow, yeah.
um um a bunch of other stuff, and then they had at the little tiny mini mart. Basically, it
Yeah.
was a 7-Eleven type local owned one in St. Louisville down the road a ways. They had rip-off records,
Oh,
45
those,
for a
yeah.
buck a
Oh,
piece.
God.
And I have a few of those too. And they're not bad. They're not as bad as those ones that we talked about with Ben at Out of the Archive a few months ago. These were actually well done.
Yeah.
At least, well, to my 6-year-old ears, they were.
The top,
And that's been way
top
too long.
records. Yeah.
Top pop hits, top pop records, something
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Top hit for sure. All about it.
Kathy Shannon and the Fantastics doing "Someday We'll Be Together."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, wasn't quite the Supremes, but it was enjoyable.
It's enjoyable. You should try uploading those to YouTube and see if you get a copyright strike on them. Just see what happens.
I wouldn't be surprised. Patrick is drooling over the five and dime. I'm assuming
Five and
that's Ben
dime,
Franklin.
baby. We still have a five and dime or a dime store, whatever you want to call it. Not Ben Franklin affiliated, but it probably used to be a Ben Franklin in St. Joe. But they don't carry records, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's one in Chatham here in Massachusetts too, but they're a craft store.
Yeah.
All they sell is like fabrics and crafting
Yep.
and stuff. And I'm like,
That's
damn
what
it,
they kind of went over to.
Ben Franklin, I remember. And of course, there was Richie's Ice Cream Shop, which was across the street. And it was a family restaurant and it was kind of a dive, but they did have a small selection of kids' records.
Mm-hmm.
I got both of my Romper Room records there.
Oh, very cool.
And I still have that. Yes, and I have actually used the Magic Mirror song on Subject Cinema a few years ago. So
very cool. So back when I was in Grand Haven, this is just a vague memory, mind you, but I remember there was the local bus stop, so the Greyhound bus station, we'll call it that, right, in town. They had a game room in the back, so it was pinball machines and stuff. And they had jukebox, and then he would stock that thing himself, and then he would rotate out and sell off his old stuff. And I got a bunch of records there for about a couple of years, which was very cool because they weren't that heavily played. I mean, it's a bus stop, really.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun. You never knew you could see them. You'd find them everywhere. And now they're like, you can't find them anywhere, really.
There was nothing quite like the 45 cutout beds because you could usually, I mean, some of them weren't new. I mean, some of them were used, but you could usually get them for 10 cents a piece.
Exactly.
And they were usually in pretty good shape, even if you went to the thrift store. So I got a lot of mine at the thrift store when I was a kid too. So
oh yeah, for sure.
And of course, the prices were a lot better now. I mean, when I was growing up, when I first started buying them, they were 69 cents, I think. Now, record store day 7-inch singles go for $12.99. I'm like, are you kidding? No.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to have a 7-inch collection of so-and-so's greatest hits or something, but I don't want to pay $50-$60 for it.
No.
It's like, good God. Yeah. And also memory of was a record store. They had, of course, on the wall, they didn't have them in bins. They had them on the wall, a rack where each rack would hold some 45s.
Yeah.
And usually if there was like the top 40 or whatever, the top 10 hits were multiple copies of that in this rack, which is very cool. I miss that.
Yeah, that's how one of the department stores in Newark had too. They had albums in the album racks, and then they had these pegboards with these other racks where they had their 45s. So you got the best of both worlds. That was very cool. Welcome to Victim of the Lag.
Hey, Lag. How's it going?
Thanks for coming by.
For sure. But yeah, I do miss that. I wish we could, I'd love to take a trip back in time just to kind of experience that again, because that was very cool.
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple bookstores on the Cape and record stores that have tons of used 45s for 10 cents a piece. The problem is they're in boxes under all the racks. There's no sleeves. They're in absolute crap condition. And I don't have the time to sit there and look through all of them. Because I mean,
I find that relaxing. I will go into, and I notice a lot of record stores lately have stopped carrying a bunch of 45s like that. Yeah. It's rare now that you can go in and say, okay, where's your crate of 45s that you don't want to, you're just kind of sitting on. Because I enjoy doing that. I love going through bin digging 45s even. I mean, I like doing it with albums, but 45s sometimes you never know what you're going to find. And there
No.
are few places now, very few places now that have that kind of setup where you can just go in and get them on the cheap. Or, you know, they, what do I want? Hey, Glams, welcome. I honestly don't understand how you can pay attention long enough to play grade something. Oh, it's not that hard. You put it on, you listen to. Usually, if something's going to screw up, first of all, you're going to get quality of sound figured out by the first few seconds of the record, really, because you get to hear any noise on it. It usually hits on the edge anyway, because of the design of a 45 is this is raised, and then the rest, you know, and then it would sit on the edge if it sat on another 45. So you get the most noise usually in the beginning of the record, and then after that, you're just listening for it to skip. And if you're, you know, once you're turned on to the music, usually you can tell if it's skipped by just just kind of having it in the background listening to it, or if it just repeats. That's another good point. But
yeah.
So yeah, you can usually pull a grade on something really quickly, but then you got to listen to make sure it plays all the way through and doesn't have any issues.
It helps that she enjoys doing it because she does her little 45 play show too.
And I'm going to keep doing that too, because I still have a bunch of my own 45s.
Yep.
That I can play.
Columbia House didn't have 45s, but man, I got tons of albums from them.
Oh, baby.
I would get 13 for a penny and then get a couple more, you know?
Oh, Glams, thank you. Thank you, Glams.
That's on your side. You'll have to do the thing if you have it.
Oh, do I have the thing? I don't have my thing.
No,
I have your stuff.
You don't have it. So you'll have to play her thank you on Chick Chat tomorrow.
Thank you, Glams. I will do that. Thank you, dear. Appreciate you. Yeah. Costa Rica Recovery Fund. Tell me about it. As we're packing CDs, mind you, just to get off topic for a second, we're packing CDs, and I'm realizing that we've got enough CDs where it's going to be probably 50 pounds or better of CDs that we're going to be bringing with us. So thank you, dear. That was very sweet of you. Nothing's needed. We're all good. Oh, you're sweetie. I'll still do it tomorrow anyway. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's very sweet.
Yeah, because everybody likes seeing the dancing cats, Glams.
I know, right? Yeah. Why pass it up and on the dancing cats, for gosh sakes? No. You're drinking Coke. My beverage of choice is decaf coffee tonight. So
actually, I'm Dr. Pepper, not Coke.
Oh, I thought it was Coke. You're right, Dr. Pepper. So yeah, play grading is not that hard, especially if you enjoy listening to the, if you're recording and stuff, which I do that. So TC doesn't have the XP thingy like Two Hip Chicks channel. The XP thingy, the
XP thingy is no, because it's part of memberships, Patrick, and they won't let me do memberships on YouTube because I use copyrighted music.
Not that he's bitter. I don't blame him if he is, but
I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter at all. I just think it's stupid. They get their cut off of it anyway from when it plays. Why don't they let me get a little bit too from a different direction?
You would think.
I have to go through Patreon, which is a pain in the butt. But
hey, but that's a good point to bring up, guys. If you want to support TC's channel, please check out his Patreon.
Yeah,
that's at the bottom.
We certainly appreciate it. We have 2 levels: $3.99 for regular and $7.99 for Patreon Plus, which gets extras and early views and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so,
and
starting
he's
next
doing all
week.
sorts of cool stuff. So please support this guy, please.
Yep.
Appreciate you guys, all of you, for sure, for coming in and stuff. So
this is what's known as the abject begging portion of the show. Now let's move on.
It's not sponsored except by Patreon. There you go. It's the unsponsored portion. So I really started getting back into singles, 45s specifically, but also some dance stuff because I was DJing for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So back in the early 80s, mid to early 80s, I was doing just, of course, some parties, but we did a weekly thing at a local dive bar called the Brown Bear in Shelby, Michigan. You may know of it.
Well, I won't, but maybe somebody will.
They had a great hamburger. Anyway, it's called the Bear Burger. It wasn't made of bear, but you get the point. So yeah, we set up in the back room there, and we would set up our DJ equipment and giant speakers and piano, giant, wooden thing we made as a DJ stand, and we put lights up and we just crank music. So I got back into buying singles that way, plus 12-inch singles, and then of course it graduated into CDs because when CDs came out about that time, I don't know what was the year CDs came out.
And in the States, they started taking off about 1985.
Yeah, so mid to late 80s, right? So I picked up some CDs as well, but I was still doing a lot with records. So, and of course, if you got two turntables and you're mixing, you have to they didn't have any CD software back then where you could,
right,
mix. You'd have to mix on the fly, try to get as close to beat matching as you could just with the headphones. But you could do it really easy on vinyl. So there you go. So I did a lot more with vinyl than I did CD. But yeah, picked up a lot of stuff. The 12-inch single, that was more of a disco thing, right? I mean, that was more of a
nightclub. Yeah, it came out because of the discos. They wanted longer mixes of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom Moulton, who was a engineer for Skepta Records, became known as the god of the 12-inch single because he would do all these remixes before they would become available.
Yeah.
Commercially, they weren't available until 1976.
Yeah.
And they didn't take off until the 80s. But I've got tons of 12 inches because I just like different mixes of different things.
Yeah.
And I mean, 3 racks full over here is 12 inches. So that's a lot for me.
I think we need a tour of his space, don't you guys?
One of these days, once it cleans up, yes.
Okay. Like, here's all my 12 inches over here. And here's all my 45s. I'll be sitting on those, but they're there. Yeah. You got a lot. You got a lot of 45s. My fault.
Yes, it is your fault.
Hi, I'm his supplier / enabler / whatever.
12. How many are there now?
And now he's counting.
I had 17 boxes of 45s when I started. When I got done with you.
And you're really not done yet. I just thought I'd warn you. You have any?
34.
Damn.
And no, 36. I got 2 down here.
So damn, that's a lot.
That's a lot of 45s.
And you deserve every one of those, dude.
I hope so. Like I said, that's one of the reasons I've always been into the charts. I've always bought singles. I bought albums too when I got older and realized that was a cool thing to do and could afford to do it. But 45s were my way of doing my chart. And
my wife is sending you. Yeah. Insert evil laugh here.
Oh, thank you. I'm scared now.
Here we go. Here we go.
Well, yes, if you want to make a 45-minute Kirkham report, and as they take forever to show off, but I enjoy doing it. Yeah, so I've always been geared toward the charts because I've always made my own chart since 78 and off and on since then. And that 45, the original thing was, in order to be on my chart, I had to own it. Either the 45 or the song on an album. So
yeah, exactly.
So that's how that came about.
I'll make sure I got everything on there. Yeah, that almost sounds evil and threatening, my lovely wife. You're not done.
You are not done with our 45s yet.
Hey, we got to get rid of them somehow. Yeah. We're going through, as we get rid of the ones that we're, taking auction and stuff, we are still looking for you, buddy. We're still keeping an eye peeled for things you will like, hopefully.
Yeah.
So, and things you're looking for.
You guys know what I like. I like practically everything. So there you go.
There you go. It's easy peasy, right?
Yeah.
Easy. Also, it's easier to, 45s do store a little in a smaller space, I guess. By the time you rack them all up, keep them in a box or whatever, it's easier. You don't need as much room. You need a lot of room, but you don't need as much room as you do for a 12-inch record.
Oh, okay. I'm going to show you something, okay?
And now the confession comes out. Here we go. The boxes and boxes.
No confession.
Here we go.
These were
Ooh.
all 45s.
Mm-hmm. Is this a hoarder situation where we have to worry about you getting pinned underneath that pile if it
That's
falls
just
over?
all of this has come from either you or Adam at Record Crate or
Damn.
one or two other sources. That
Damn.
doesn't include the ones that are in the drawers.
No,
These are
because
just the
you said you
boxes.
had those special drawers, and I figured those were
Well,
for.
there are these boxes inside the drawer units, which they stopped making, but
Mm.
which stinks because I love the drawer units. But um, this will do if I have to. So
Okay, you'll increase that. How high is your ceiling?
yeah, well, I have enough room to go another couple of stacks on the top of those over there.
All right, as
But
long as we're
it
not going to
says to
kill you if
keep
it
them
falls on you.
four. Says to keep them not any more than four of them stacked on top of each other, and right now they're three. So I could get another 8 boxes on top over there if I
Mhm.
want to.
So I find if I alternate them, like put two down and then put two this way, kind of like Lego blocks,
Yeah, but
it
then you
does
can't
help.
get to them.
Well, I'm just saying, it does help.
And my goal is to digitize all of them eventually.
Yeah. Oh, hey, there you go.
So
You
yeah,
can't die until that's done. Is basically what you're saying.
I don't know about that. I hope not.
I've got the same kind of idea, but I'm not. Yeah, I can't imagine that I'm going to get everything done, but I'm going to get close because I'm putting a lot of stuff out there on YouTube. So I'm getting
Yeah,
closer.
that's me too. Some of the stuff I'm doing, and I'm constantly finding stuff to download for the various shows I do. So I'm adding to the digital collection all the
Hmm.
time. So,
Yeah,
but the 45s, they're my baby. I am always gonna love my
I
45s.
love my
They're
45.
just
Exactly.
fantastic.
I really can't wait until we move to go check out the local record places in Costa Rica. That should be a lot of
Yep,
fun.
yep.
Lots of
You'll
fun.
be in charge of. Oh no, you can't do anything down there, can you?
What?
That's right. You can't send anything from out there because there's no mail the way it works here.
There's no. I mean, I could ship something out if I really wanted to. I'd have to hand it to a bus driver or something. But um, I mean, people are traveling back. So the expat community, people travel back and forth all the time, and I could probably get something mailed if I had to. I need
Ah,
a package
okay.
mailed or something. So it's not totally outside of the realm of possibility.
Ah,
But
okay.
yeah, let's hope we find what you need here.
Yeah.
There's always that. She's not being evil, she says. Not evil. You know his weakness. Oh my God. I know your weakness. Yeah.
Well, considering you guys sold me probably close to 150 CDs during your thing with Johnny's auctions there,
True.
it was, I mean,
That's a lot.
I added a ton to my, that added to the digital stuff that I lost. Because I
Yeah.
mean, I lost over 500,000 music files.
That's
I had
crazy.
that many on that hard drive.
And those were
And
all album music files, or were they individual singles? I mean,
no,
were
they
they?
were individual tracks. Those were
Wow.
individual tracks.
Damn.
And if I had the album, not all, I mean, some of them were albums, but yeah, I don't know if it was actually that high, but it was between. I know last time I looked, I had something like 300 and some thousand files.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's stuff I ripped off my CDs, stuff I digitized, stuff I got from other places, and Napster, and a
Yeah,
few
I
other
know.
places. And but
Torrent. Yeah, okay.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but now I'm replacing them slowly but surely.
Good for you.
Ah, Patrick, I can do that for you.
You have a clone of his hard drive. Oh my God.
Well, I've just started loading. When I lost everything in December, I
Mm-hmm.
started reloading, and to start it from scratch, I bought a 5 terabyte hard drive.
That was smart.
I have ripped almost all the CDs I have. Not all of them are done yet, but they're close to it. Like I got 90% of them done,
Good.
including the ones I bought from you. I haven't even used a whole terabyte yet.
No, not yet. I mean, it does
And
depend on the quality.
I upped the quality
Did you?
to the
Good.
next level. So I'm like, okay, that's insane.
Yeah.
So I have plenty of room for more stuff.
Well, good. We'll make sure we'll try to get you there. Everybody, support TC's addiction, please. Support his addiction for sure. So, is there stuff you're still looking for in singles? I mean, is there single records that you're still looking for in a 7-inch of?
Oh,
anybody?
sure. There's stuff that I remember that most of that was on the list that I sent you
Yeah.
when you first bought that 45s lot. Off the top of my head, there's things I'd like to get that I've never found. And I mean, I could find them on Discogs at ridiculous prices sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
but some of them aren't even available on there. So, because I
Yeah.
bought a few there. But I've picked up a few of my grails here and there on Discogs, and
Cool.
I've got a few of them from you, and I've got, I'm always like when you had that Genghis Khan at Whatnot, I about blew my mind. I'm like, I have to have that. Because not only is it a cool song, it
Right.
fits Disco Party, and it's Eurovision connected.
I
So
know,
there
right?
you go. It hits all my buttons.
And I can't remember. Did anybody bid it against you on that one? I cannot remember. Oh, good. Okay.
Nobody knew what it was. I did, but nobody else did. So,
Yeah.
and I think
That's
you were
good.
surprised when I bid on it because it was like, what is he doing? Does he know what this is?
Well, Mary might have known what it was, but I didn't. I just kind of played it and play graded it or whatever, listed it. I didn't really listen to it or look at it very closely. So I knew nothing really about it except it was a cool, picture sleeve, blah, blah, blah. So, but yeah. Used to do it on our meet and greets is copy all the DJ's hard drives. Ooh, dude. There you go.
Don't say that out loud, Patrick. That's not a good thing. That'll jinx you.
I've got a few. I mean, from I did the B side of the Carpenters or whatever. I'm missing 1 or 2 45s of that, so I need those. I really like to find some more Styx singles. I don't, for some reason, they're harder to find. Some of their, 80s stuff. I think I have Mr. Roboto and a couple other ones, but I'm still looking for I've got Babe and a few other ones. Yeah. But I'm looking for the more obscure stuff, I guess. I'm trying to think of what else I'm looking for.
Well, I know I did buy one of my grails from you at one point, but I never got it because it got stolen.
I know.
Which was Carpenter's Goofus. And I've never had that on a single. And I'm like, I can't, I'm like, what kind of a sick freak would steal Carpenter's 45s from an old man like me? I'm like,
I know.
what is wrong with you people?
It still blows my mind that is the package that got taken.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I bet they didn't even know it. I wouldn't be surprised if they looked at it, went, oh, God, and just chucked it in the garbage. In which case, I would just I'd have to hurt them.
Yeah, because I think I for some reason I didn't either. I thought I had it or whatever, but I ended up putting it up for you, and I was really tickled that you got it. And then I was very heartbroken when that happened. Yeah.
Of course, you never know. Maybe they find it and deliver it like they did the other one that they showed up 18 months after they sent it. So who knows?
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I mean, really, fingers crossed, man. Please, God, make it show up. Please.
The cool thing about all the stuff that I won on 45 is I've been able to find a lot of it on YouTube. Because a lot of it I'd never heard, and I wanted to hear it, and so I've heard them now, and I'm like, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So if I ever find it, it'll be cool.
Yeah. Do you do that a lot? Do you check things out on YouTube first before you buy it? Just in
YouTube
general?
or Spotify, yeah.
Okay.
I don't like blind buys unless I absolutely am really into if it's a new album by a group I know or an artist I know.
Yeah.
But haven't heard anything off of all that's not really a blind buy because I know who it is.
Yeah. That's why, that's what I enjoy about bin digging, right? It's first of all, it's cheap. You can blind buy anything and you may be turned on to something or whatever. So that's the time when I don't mind spending, but I don't want to spend $20, $30 for a blind buy. No.
Yeah. Yeah, blind buys were always great in the 80s when there were cutout bins galore. And
Yeah.
you could get them. I mean, one store I went to that opened in our neighborhood in 1985 were selling cutouts for 10 cents a piece. I added 200 records to my collection that
I
summer.
bet you did.
And all of them were known. I got all the Raspberries albums that way. I
Wow.
got Diodato and, Paul Davis and Henry Gross and all these great acts I've always liked, but never
Yeah.
had the albums by. So
Yep.
cutout bins I miss so much. I
Yeah.
just thought they were just a great thing.
Agreed. They're just no more. No more.
Yeah.
So looks like Patrick was doing a lot of pirating back in the 15, 16s. Looks like. But it was, yeah, file sharing, I think. I'm sorry, file sharing. It's not pirating, it's file sharing back then. Hey, you're more than welcome to tap my hard drive, Patrick, and it's not as dirty as it sounds. There you go. We'll talk.
Yeah. I will. When I get things done, I will. I will see what we can do.
Yeah, really. No worries, man. No worries. So, what I mean, so we talked a little bit about record store day and the 10, 15, $20 45s or however much they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Do you see that continuing? Do you feel like that's going to be something that happens a lot,
Yeah.
or do you think
Yeah.
it's kind of waning
I
off?
mean, the younger people who are into the popular acts today, I'm not really into that music, but the people who are going for the Chapel Roan and the Gracie Adams and the Charlie XCX, I have no problem with listening to them, but they're the kind of acts I like to stream. I don't really have any need to buy them. But they've all done 45s for $9.99 in the last year. So is Billie Eilish, so is Post Malone. So yeah, I do see them staying up there, unfortunately. Taylor Swift is another one.
Did she do the? Oh yeah, she did, didn't she?
But I mean, I did buy the series that came out from Vince Guaraldi, the Charlie Brown series.
Right. Yeah.
And those were $14.99 each. And the quality, because they're put out by Quality Recordings, I mean, that's as close as you can get to a MoFi without being a MoFi.
Right.
They're that good. And Craft Recordings, I'm sorry. And I mean, they're that good. And I take very good care of them. They all came with picture sleeves. And it's Vince Guaraldi doing Charlie Brown music. You can't go wrong.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I agree. Yeah. Don't take them out of the sleeves and put them on a spindle. That's not a good idea.
What's a spindle, Mommy?
What's a spindle? Or putting holes in your picture sleeves. Don't do that either.
Oh my God! Don't get me started on that again.
Sorry. Don't do it.
You want to see how I reacted to somebody who actually apparently had one of those center store 45 racks. They just punched a hole right through the picture sleeve. You want to see my reaction? Go check my Instagram from a couple of years ago.
Yeah. You want to see a man rave and rant and carry on?
You don't do that to a picture sleeve, dude.
What?
Sorry.
Sick individual is basically what he was saying.
Yeah.
What kind of warped human being could do this to a 45?
Well, it's just like you. You have your pet peeves about 45s too. You hate those metal inserts.
Yeah, I hate those things. They suck. They break records. I've tripped over records that are, they suck. They suck.
The plastic spiders are much better.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, they're not. They don't stay in as good, but damn, they're not.
They
like
work.
You don't have to break the record to get them out either.
Yeah, I know. Because we've actually shown you doing that on one of our early shows.
Yeah, I remember that.
If you go back and look at that way back, I mean, those things are like a torture device for 45s. I don't know why people would ever put those in there.
I don't get it either. I mean, I understand if you do not have a center adapter, you know, you got to do something. But good Lord,
I mean, considering that you can
good
buy
Lord.
45 spiders still in most record stores.
You can now, but back before, those were before the spiders,
Yeah.
basically. Those were there were different patented ones as well.
Yeah, but the spiders have been around since the 60s at least, because my babysitter used to have them on all her 45s
Yeah,
because they
but
didn't have
these
an
are, I
adapter.
think these started in the 50s though.
Yeah.
I really do, because some of them have, I didn't look up all the patents because I've had a bunch of different types, but my favorite one, which made a lot of sense to me, was just a metal disc with a raised area where you put it in the one side of the 45 and it would kind of lock in or wedge in. And it wasn't this convoluted, you know, bend the record to get it in thing.
Yeah.
But obviously that one didn't take off like it should have
No.
because they kept using those. Maybe it was cheaper to make them out of cast metal versus this was probably stamped aluminum or whatever, or stamped
Ah,
steel.
so it was bendable and flexible.
Well, it wasn't really. It was just a solid. It was punched. It looked like it was punched out, and it had a raised lip, so it would fit up in the 45, and then it would just sit there by friction. So you could just pop it out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but for some reason, I don't see a lot of those at all. I found one in my travels, and I found a bunch of those other ones, which were probably just cheaper to produce and to buy.
Yeah. It's just so much easier just to use the adapter like the one you have on your turntable that we see all
Mhm.
the time.
Yeah, I've got that one, or this. Yeah, just get one of these. These are
Yeah.
okay. They're just plastic. I mean, and I know people are 3D printing them too, but you can get them almost any place now. Amazon, you can go to Square Deal Records, they have them.
Yeah.
So a bunch of different places carry them. And they're like a piece of plastic, couple bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
And they
if
do
you
a
have a
great
3D
job.
printer, you can 3D print them suckers too.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Which is
please.
what I'd like to do, but I don't have the money for a 3D printer, so
Where do you have the space right
yeah.
now? Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. But yeah, I've always wanted to 3D print some things too. You come up with this idea like, hey, this would be cool to have a 3D print of, and then what else would you do with it?
Actually, I do have the space for one of those small ones I've seen. But I almost bought one. Micro Center had one on sale for $119.
Wow.
And I mean, it was no bigger than uh like a little box, like the boxes you send to my 45s in. That's all
Oh
the bigger it
wow.
was. And
Hmm.
it would fit right nicely on the other side of the monitor over here.
Look,
But I
keep
don't
an
have
eye out
money for
for.
the filaments and all that stuff.
Yeah,
So those are
I was gonna
expensive.
say, keep an eye out for TC's customized 45 adapters coming soon.
Well, I want to make one of those. What I used to have, and I don't know, I know I kept it, but it must be in storage. Back in the 80s, I bought it was a little round like a 45 spider, but
Mm-hmm.
it was solid plastic and had an album graphic on it and it had two channels on the back with a sharp plastic tooth in it. One was for single LPs, the other was for gatefolds. And that's how you got the shrink wrap off. You sliced through it. And
Wow.
you didn't have to worry about knives or scissors or anything like that.
It was plastic
And
or it had a metal blade?
no, it was all plastic,
Wow.
hard plastic, and it was brilliant and it worked beautifully. And now nobody's heard of them. I can't find them online. I can't find anybody that's got them on eBay. I've looked. I'm like, and I don't know what happened to mine. And I'd love to make those with Kirker Report logos on them because I could
That would
sell a
be
ton of
cool.
those.
Yeah. That would be a cool thing. Well, do it, damn it. Draw it up. There are 3D print houses you can go to too.
Yeah, I know. I know.
So you might, and again, coming soon, you know,
Yeah,
Video Central's record openers. What are they called? Shrink wrap
pretty much.
removers.
Album
Oh,
openers. Yeah.
there you go.
And I had a blade that was specially made for CDs too, but had a channel and it had a metal blade in it and it cut through the
Damn.
top label that stuck the two sides together. So it made it much easier to get off.
Hey, Scott, how's it going, man? You got some bearded picker here. Welcome, buddy. We're just talking about records, man. Singles, to be precise. 45 RPMs. Oh, Scott, keep an eye out for this one. since it's a reseller now. We got to talk reseller stuff. Keep an eye out for this 45. If you ever see it, it's worth $200.
Oh my gosh.
And I think I showed you I showed you guys this at during the live we did the other day.
Yeah, you did.
So this is it's got to be a Native American individual because his name is Charlie White Eagle. It is, if you want to look it up on Discogs, kids, it's T as in Tom, B as in boy -1004. It is on Teen Beat Club Records, which is a label. I believe that was probably recorded in-house at a local teen nightclub because it's a live recording on both sides. This side isn't horrible. Get off of my cloud. He does a decent job. But the B side is Red Roses for a Blue Lady. And he and the band, or he and the recording, whatever band that was playing for him, were in different rooms. Because he's way off. They were in a totally different room because he's singing and they're playing and it ain't matching at all. Yeah. It ain't pretty. Grady.
Hello,
Say
Grady.
hi.
Hi. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming by.
Welcome. Thanks for coming in.
Is that the best one that you've found in that lot so far?
We had the one from Alaska, which was worth. My wife will have to chime in on that one. I can't remember how much the Alaskan one was. I think it was only 100 and something. But this one is the best one so far. Yeah. And this was the one we found just while we were going through records to take him to auction. So
right.
my lovely wife, I appreciate her for that. And we've had some inquiries on Discogs on it. So it's out on Discogs if you want to buy it.
Cool. No, I can't afford that. I'm not spending $200 on a
Don't do it. I got a recording of it. I will put it up on YouTube, and you guys can listen to it. I will post it out if it doesn't hit any copyright strikes or anything. I will post it.
You have made me spend more on 45s, an individual 45, than anybody else ever. I mean, I remember the Laura Nero single that went to $27 in auction.
Yeah.
And the Partridge Family just this last couple of weeks, which I wanted it because I don't have the picture sleeve, and I have the single, but I don't have the picture sleeve, and I paid $7 for that.
I was in shock that you did that, by the way, because I thought you had that single, and I guess
I do have the single, but I don't have the picture sleeve, and I'm like, yeah,
you weren't the only one that wanted that one, or you would have got it for $1.
Yep.
Well, that's the thing. You find the one thing you're looking for, and you got to have it. Okay, yeah.
I am willing to fight for some stuff. And I've fought for the pylons a few times because I've happened to notice a couple of interesting things in those.
Exactly. Yeah, she said the Alaskan one was only worth 100. So yeah, that's our best one so far.
I remember that Alaska one when you played it. It was very interesting.
Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of stuff that goes for good money, which is weird.
Yeah, well, because it's so rare.
I guess. Yeah, really. After you hear it, it's like, oh no, Frisbee time, right? Somebody wants it. Somebody's looking for this. Somebody is looking for that. That's my motto from now on.
Didn't you sell a whole group of specialty dance numbers to somebody? You had a whole set of these things that were each for like samba and the different dance stuff.
There was a set of it was for dance studio kind of records.
Yeah, and didn't you have one person pick all of those up?
I think so, yeah. And I cannot remember who it was. And
because that seemed like a cool thing,
That was cool. Because it gave tempo and everything, and then it gave some of them had like dance steps, directions, and printed off, mimeographed, I guess you could say. But most of them were just gave the type of dance it was, or mamba, or whatever, waltz. Not many polkas, but yeah. And then we had
your share of that too.
We had a bunch of square dance ones that we picked up in a Craptastic lot too, which was those are fun.
Yeah, I remember those too. You played a couple of those for me.
Those are fun. I should pull more of them out and just play a whole random 45 play of polkas and square dancing, and I don't know.
We don't. Well, that's okay. We don't really need that, Dawn.
I know. I know. I agree.
An
Shouldn't
hour
work.
with Frankie Yankovic and his accordion.
Yep.
Everybody polka.
Everybody polka.
I shouldn't be that way because I know people really enjoy that stuff. And I've actually, that when you actually comes down to it, the hamster dance song, it's a polka. Listen to the song. It's a polka disguised as an electronic
Well, the bird dance
song.
is,
Hmm?
or at least the version of the bird dance I know.
I've heard, yeah,
It's a polka.
the chicken dance
The
done so
chicken
many
dance, yeah,
different
bird dance,
ways.
chicken dance.
Bird dance, dance little bird, whatever you want to call it. I've heard it so many different ways from Sunday.
But it's
But
basically a polka. It's basically a polka.
I am Dawn was, but she's not now because she's moving, so she doesn't want to move them.
So I'll be getting rid of a bunch of them.
But yes, I'm a huge 45 collector in addition to my regular albums and stuff.
I have gotten in contact with one YouTuber that collects 45s. It's in Michigan, and he's going to look at what I sent him, and he'll get back to me to see if he wants to do a private pick. If anybody else wants to do a private pick before we take these off to auction, let me know. There you go. We have
You've had a couple people do. The jukebox guys did a private pick.
That was like an impromptu thing. When they came to buy
Yeah.
the jukebox, the guys just kind of rummaged through some, not all of the boxes, mind you, but a few. And he found some stuff. So, yeah. I'm primarily 33s, but dabble in 45s a tad bit. Yeah. Oh, we have a butt ton of those too. But yeah, LPs a little more commonly collected than 45s. Not a lot of people do unless it's like you said, one artist they really like, or do more obscure stuff. So to find an exclusive,
many people in the VC that do primarily 45s, and I have a large collection of albums and a large collection of CDs, but my 45s, thanks to you guys, doubles that. So, yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. The halo isn't showing up, is it? No, sorry.
No, it's a nice try though. So what do you got coming up in the next week here? You have a couple of shows coming up this week.
Yeah, we are doing, we're still doing Chick Chat. We're going to try to do Chick Chat as much as we can. Obviously, we're in the upstairs space now because we're trying to get ready for an estate sale. But we will be doing Chick Chat Tuesdays and Thursdays as usual. Tuesdays at noon is just chatting with us and talking about things. Thursdays is still estate sale bingo. And that's fun because we generate a bingo card. You can pull it up online and play along and get bragging rights. And I'm bragging again because nobody dethroned me yet. So there's that.
I came close last week. I just needed a couple of things.
You were very close. I know. I was like, come on.
2 different directions I could have gone. And I'm like, okay.
I know. And you never know because you don't know what you're getting into. I'll usually have Elvis on my card, and then I got nobody has Elvis or whatever,
Yeah.
And then and Sundays, right along, we're just going to continue doing this until I run out of 45s. There's a random record play.
It'll be a few years, people.
It'll be a while. We're doing the random record play on Sundays. It's about an hour long. It's just kind of a play grading of records, and I pull up, let you listen to what I play graded that week. So that's kind of fun. Bob Ross. Exactly. Ashtray. I don't know if Bob Ross is on there.
Patrick's favorite things.
Wood paneling and ashtrays. Yep. Wood paneling and ashtrays. Yep, for sure.
Yep.
For the win. So what are you up to? You got a ton of stuff going on too, don't you?
I am actually prepping this week, final prep for getting all my shows back up and running next week. So I will have more on the full schedule come this weekend. Mm-hmm. But throughout the rest of this week, Obscuria, Monday through Friday at 11. Kim Takes On with my wife tomorrow. Mm-hmm. She's looking at her memories of Star Wars, which is a very important show to her. And I really love what she did with it. It was a lot of fun editing it. I think she's going to like it when she watches it tonight. And I have flashback tracks on Thursday, and then Saturday and Sunday, I got the Kirkin Report, Saturday Night Disco Party, and AM 70s, and Radio Retro will be back on Sunday. So
cool. And right now, my favorite of all of those is still the AM 70s.
AM 70s. I am having such a blast doing that show.
It's a lot of fun.
And I'm glad I'm getting lots of word of mouth, and people are just really enjoying it. And then It's what I'd hope for. It's doing
Um,
well.
The disco
And
party's fun too. The disco party's fun too, but the AM70s one is really
yeah,
a
the
boot.
disco party exploded with the dance people, and the '70s stuff has been exploding with the '70s people.
Mhm.
I don't have time to do one for any other decade at the moment, but a week from Friday, Friday
Yeah.
Night Hair Salon is coming. So
Really?
be ready for that. It should be up starting a week from Friday if I can load everything in
Are
time.
we talking about hair metal?
We were talking about hair metal and hair and adjacent music from the late '70s through the
Nice.
early
So
'90s.
power ballads too are in there and
Yep. Oh yeah.
nice. I cannot wait. Yeah, look at Patrick. Woohoo!
No, actually, he's waha.
Nah, he's very happy. That's why the yes came in after that. Of
Yeah,
course, he's going to be all over that, man. God, yes. See,
yeah, yeah. You want to
very
hear,
cool.
all the hot bands from the '80s and '90s. I got to dig Kim's stuff out of storage to get all the really good stuff, but I will get
Yeah,
enough to do 2 hours worth every Friday night, starting a week from Friday. So,
man, that's going to be great. Super. Well, everybody, guys, go check out him. And please go support him on Patreon if you get a chance, if you like what he does, because he's doing some really cool things.
well, thank you for plugging that, and don't forget to join John's channel and make our membership grow and grow and grow over at Two Hip Chicks as well.
Blow my head off, right? Blow my head off. Figuratively, not actually. Yeah. So very cool. Well, thanks everybody. TC for having me again this week. We'll be in 2
Always.
weeks. 2 weeks on our channel.
Yep.
And again, we're leaving it open. If you guys want to come on and talk about a musical topic, please let us know, and we will see if we can get you on the schedule.
Yep, you can let either one of us know, and we will work it out.
That's right. That's right. Super.
So until then, I am TC from TKR Video Central.
And I am Dawn from Two Hip Chicks.
And we will see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.